Now then, how you doing? I hope you're well. I love a stone circle, me, and the 12 Apostles located on the wild moors above Ilkley make for a great local walkout. Well, photographing it proved to be a bit of a challenge for several reasons, but then I just had to be a little more resourceful when it came to planning my painting. Here's how it all came together. There is a point on the map where three moors, Ilkley, Bingley and Burley moors, meet. At that point on the ground, the only thing of any tangible significance is a small stone circle known locally as the 12 Apostles. Technically speaking, it stands on Burley Moor despite often being attributed to Ilkley. Its true purpose has never been fully ascertained. It may have been built simply as a ring cairn, while others suggest it may have been used to observe the movement of the moon or stars. With many of the stones over time having fallen and been reset, any ancient celestial alignments or association with druids is difficult to prove. No matter whatever its purpose in a previous life, with its panoramic views and wild location, it makes for an ideal landmark and a target for a walkout. Naturally, I took several photographs while I was there, but struggled to get a definitive shot of the stones. It didn't help that a large cloud stubbornly insisted on blocking out the sun for most of the time, and also a large group of enthusiastic teenagers had taken up camp right by the stones, making it almost impossible to capture the whole circle. In the end, I decided that to get the composition I wanted, I was going to have to build one of my own. All of which brings me to the bit that I've been looking forward to the most. The surface textures of the rocks. Now, I love rocks, mostly because of their textures which never cease to excite me. I don't get out much. This large stone is a beauty. The marks on it are like little islands of texture randomly scattered across its surface like continents on a map. The colour I'm using is mixed mostly from burnt umber, but with a small amount of French ultramarine added to neutralise it. Well, the main things I have to watch out for as I do this are as follows. Firstly, the paint doesn't want to be too rich. It's got to look like it's an integral part of the rock surface and not just painted on like graffiti. Another way in which this can be achieved is to randomly soften off some of those marks so that they blend into their surroundings. Random is a key factor as to whether this will be a success or not. Well, these textures are naturally occurring, so any repetition of shapes or geometric shapes will simply not look right at all. It's all got to look as random and natural as possible. Well, the other thing that needs to be taken into consideration here is the fact that the general flow of the textures should help to reinforce the angle of the rock's surface. In other words, the rocks are upright, so the surfaces are generally vertical. So the textures don't want to contradict those angles too much, otherwise they won't look authentic. In watercolour, we work from light to dark. Here I've mixed up some French ultramarine and burnt umber into a dark, rich colour, and I'm adding it to the textures that I've already established with the earlier colour. In some ways, this is just a repeat of the earlier task, taking hints from the shapes that I've already created, but also adding new ones, all with a view to increasing the overall impact of the rocks. Also, I want to add extra depth, but I do have to be careful at this point not to overwork it. And that's a fine balance that isn't necessarily always easy to accomplish. That's where the challenge lies. Or simply put, if my dark tones succeed in completely obliterating the earlier, gentler textures, then I might as well not have bothered with them at all. If we think of it as two layers of texture, what should ideally happen is for them to complement each other and support each other. But to control this, I'm doing a lot of softening off, blending the darker tone into its surroundings with a damp brush in such a way as to hopefully suggest a direct link between the two layers. Also, let's not forget, less is more. I'm aiming to create subtle accents on the surface of the stones, but I don't want them to take anything away from their underlying structure. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, and and that it may even have given you some ideas and help with painting rock textures. Well, if you did enjoy it, then please do hit the like button. It really does make a difference. And if you're not already a subscriber, then well, maybe consider subscribing or even becoming a studio member of my YouTube channel. Get instant access to the full-length version of the demonstration, from which this has just been a very small extract. There are other sign-up options which you'll find in the description below. In the meantime, I'll see you next time. Take care.